You're watching WSTV Digital Media.
There's got to be. There has to be. I do forget that.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the May 12, 2016 meeting of the City County Planning Board. Would you please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Today's meeting is being broadcast live by Winston-Salem TV Digital Media. It will be rebroadcast at 10 a.m. Friday morning, again at 4 p.m. Sunday afternoon. Our first order of business today is a consent agenda. These are items for which the petitioner has requested withdrawal or continuance, or items for which staff has recommended approval, and no one has signed up to speak in opposition. For our public hearings today, each side will have a total of 12 minutes. There is no rebuttal period. Once the public hearing is closed, the board goes into work session. No one will be permitted to speak unless a planning board member asks a question. Items under Section B of the agenda will require final action by the appropriate elected body, the City Council or County Commissioners. As such, votes taken today by the planning board or recommendations will go to those bodies for their consideration. If you are addressing the board today, before you begin your remarks, please give us your name, address, and zip code for the record. First item of business is approval of the minutes of the April 14, 25, and 28 meetings. Or any additions or corrections?
Move approval. Second.
Motion, Mr. Mulligan, second, Mr. Lamb. In discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you. Now call on Aaron King to present our consent agenda.
All right. Item B1 is only docket W3297, and this is a site plan amendment request for a GBS zone property. You can see it there in yellow. It's about 1.78 acres in size. On the west side of Union Cross Road, south of Solomon Drive. To the north there, you've got some homes zoned RS9. To the east, you've got an existing shopping center and some MUS zone property that's currently under development. And to the south and to the west, you have the remainder of the GBS zone property, not under construction yet, but that was previously approved in 2011, along with this piece. When this site was approved in 2011, this particular site was envisioned for a convenience store, fuel pumps, and a car wash. The request before you today is for McDonald's, a restaurant with drive-through. And you can see the building there located in the middle of the site. One of the key considerations we worked with the neighbors on along Solomon Drive in 2011 was some berming, landscaping to try to soften the impact on them. That same berming and landscaping carried through to this plan. You can see it there along the northern edge of this site, so we applaud the petitioner for that. No access onto Solomon Drive, the one access point out to Pecan Lane. They're on the west side of the property, and they did orient the speaker and ordering system to the south of the building to try to get that away from the neighbors. So all in all, while it is an intense use, it does appear to offer some improvements over what was there previously, and staff would recommend approval of the site plan amendment.
Okay. No one has signed up. Is anyone here opposed to this recommendation? Seeing none, I'll declare the public hearing closed.
Move we recommend approval.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Lamb, second by Mr. Mulligan. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you.
And Kelly Bennett will present the Southwest Winston-Salem area plan update now.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. So for the Southwest Winston-Salem area plan update, we held 4 public meetings in Miller Park Recreation Center. About 60 to 70 people participated over those 4 meetings. Here's a map of the existing land use. The planning area is bounded by Business 40 in the north, Peters Creek Parkway on the east, and Silas Creek Parkway on the south and west. Here's a look at the proposed land use and the proposed land use changes, and you can see there aren't many land use changes recommended. And you can see several areas of where staff has recommended mixed-use development. One of those areas is the Winston-Salem Activity Center along Peters Creek Parkway and Academy Street. And this area could benefit from redevelopment. We're looking at the former Dodge dealership, and this area could extend the development pattern down from the ballpark, where you're seeing some larger scale multifamily residential development. You can see that type of development here with a mixture of residential and office. Here's what the area looks like now, and here's a sketch of what the area could look like with that type of development. Another area is the Thruway Activity Center. Could see some mixed-use development in the future. And here's a site plan that shows the Thruway Shopping Center with some added mixed-use buildings with some parking decks, which could be built into the side of the hill using the existing topography. And here's a sketch of what that area could look like along Stratford Road. Another activity center we looked at is the Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center Activity Center. The hospital plans to build their Cloverdale campus outpatient facility in this area between Miller Street and Medical Center Boulevard. That would be a larger building with a parking deck built again into the onto the south side of the site using the existing topography in the hill, with no plans to demolish any of the houses along Queen Street. One of the areas that generated the most discussion was what's known as the Goat Farm along Silas Creek Parkway and Ebert Street. Here's a look at that property. And we carried the same recommendation forward for moderate density multifamily at this site. One area that has shown a lot of changes since the last plan was adopted in 2009 is the Hanestown area. And you can see an aerial here. The mill has been redeveloped into a shopping center. And there are larger scale office developments being developed in this area. And our recommendation would recommend a mix of office and multifamily in this area if the property owners could assemble lots before seeking rezoning. For properties adjacent to Hanestown Park, we would recommend multifamily just being in the park area rather than office. Proposed transportation improvements in this area are mostly sidewalks and bike lanes. One of the other recommendations is Peters Creek Parkway. The Peters Creek Parkway Initiative worked with the city DOT for plans to redevelop that segment between Business 40 and Silas Creek Parkway to add a side path, intersection improvements, and slower traffic lanes and reduced number of traffic lanes. And in the community facilities section, the Salem Creek Greenway extension, which would run from Marketplace Mall to the campus of Forsyth Tech, has been funded and is expected to move forward with engineering and building in the next 5 years. And then the Business 40 side path, which would be part of the Business 40 improvement project, is also recommended. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Anyone? Thank you. Good presentation. This is a public hearing. We have one person signed up, Ms. Ackmeyer. Welcome back.
Carol Eichmeyer, 500 Magnolia Street, Winston-Salem, 27103. And I'm just here to speak in favor of the updated Southwest Area Plan. We talked about a lot of things, and I very much appreciate and approve of the staff's recommendations. How's that?
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak in support of this? Anyone like to speak in opposition? Now, declare the public hearing closed.
I move that we recommend approval.
And I'll second it.
Motion, Mr. Lamb, seconded by Mr. Mulliken. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Kelly. Good job. Okay. Staff report.
Okay. Thank you, and good afternoon, members of the board. Several things I want to bring you up to date on. One is we had a deadline day for new zoning cases this past Monday, so we have 5 new zoning cases that are coming to you next month, including Phase 2 around the ballpark. So that will be coming in for your review, as well as the master plan that was called for as a condition in the original rezoning for that. So there will be a master plan for the entire area, remaining area that was zoned PBS, as well as what they're planning on doing now, which is immediately around the ballpark itself. Another thing they're going to have on there that we're going to have on the agenda is proposed long-term lease of some of the parkland in Kimberly Park. and that would be for a aquaponics, hydroponics training area within part of the park there. There's been a lot of discussion with neighborhood residents and people who are interested in pushing that forward. You might recall that that was originally proposed on Polo Road. There was a rezoning that was proposed several months ago, and that got pulled back because there were some environmental issues they had to deal with. So this is working out for that site. So that'll be coming to you, which you are asked by a city council resolution to review all of these parkland dispositions, even if it is a lease. And we'll also have the Rural Hall area plan that the meetings have been completed on, so we'll be briefing you at your May work session on that. A couple other things. You remember dealing with accessory dwellings for several months, and you made several votes at your March meeting. That went to the City Council's Community Development Housing General Government Committee this last week, and perhaps not surprisingly, there was no real consensus on which way to go on that, so they're going to be continuing that to discuss it further. So we don't know yet when there's going to be a public hearing or in which form the ordinance is going to go forward for public hearing. But we did make sure that they knew what your recommendation was and the different versions that you had considered. The Southeast Suburban Plan was adopted previously by the City Council. It was adopted this past Monday night by the County Commissioners, so that one is now adopted. You have at your places a card reminds you about the Community Appearance Awards for 2016. That's happening on June the 8th coming up. That is always a very nice event. There will be some refreshments served at 4, and at 4:30 the program begins. And the guest speaker is actually going to be someone who has been around the world talking at different conferences. She's a expert on placemaking, Dr. Catherine Laughlin, who actually lives in North Carolina, but she'll be the speaker there. So really looking forward to hearing from her. So would really invite you all to come to that, because placemaking is very close in mind to what we do in planning as well. So, and the last thing I have is something just discovered today, and that is from time to time I let you know how Winston-Salem or Forsyth County ranks among other cities in different things, but it was brought to my attention that we have ranked pretty high in a group called Wallet Hub, which does some online surveying and assessments of different cities about how they rank in different things. And so we rank pretty high in 2016's best large cities to start a business. And actually, Winston-Salem ranks number 11 in the 150 largest cities in the country for starting a business. You might be interested to know we are slightly behind Charlotte. They're in position number 7. We're ahead of Durham in position 12. We're ahead of Raleigh at 17, ahead of Fayetteville at 25, and ahead of Greensboro at 28. So Winston-Salem is ranks number 11. Pretty good company there.
I believe Mr. Younger was quoted in that article too, wasn't he?
I think one of our local online papers did a little article on this ranking, and they talked to Alan about that. So that's right. So with that is our staff report.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Any board members, anything for the good of the order?
I just wanted to mention, I don't know if y'all read yesterday's paper or not, but Wesley Curtis Jr., who was on this planning board for a few years or whatever, was promoted to president of his architectural firm. Yeah. So just like to congratulate him on that.
I taught him a lot when he was sitting here beside me.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Yeah, you learn a lot.
Okay. All right.
With that, motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor? We're adjourned. Okay.